Hey, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. Obviously on this channel, we talk about crowdfunding. We talk about raising money online. And today, I want to get into some of the keys of crowdfunding success. If you're new to this channel, number one, thank you so much for tuning in. I really try to put out teachings when it comes to raising more money online, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, WeFunder, e-commerce. We talk about all of that on this channel. And also, if you're a returning viewer and you have not yet subscribed, thank you so much for giving me a subscribe and smashing that like button as well when it comes to this video. But let's get into what are some of the keys to crowdfunding success that you should be aware of in order to achieve more success when you're going into your next campaign. It's coming up right after this. Okay, so let's talk about crowdfunding, man. I love crowdfunding. I've been in crowdfunding since 2012, man, with my blog, starting out with crowdcrux.com. I started my podcast, Crowdfunding Demystified. I have this YouTube channel, I have courses, I have books, I have all of that, right? And I really want to share with you what I think are some of the keys to crowdfunding success. And to understand this is so important because if you do, then you can unlock success with literally any campaign and any platform out there. So these are kind of the keys that you should be aware of. And I think that even if you are more familiar with crowdfunding, a lot of these might surprise you. So let's talk about this right now. The first is that a lot of the times we think about crowdfunding, and whether it is like a GoFundMe campaign, whether it's a Kickstarter campaign, whether it's a Patreon campaign, right? Whether it's something like an Indiegogo, etc. We think about crowdfunding, we think about selling, we think about promotion, right? We think about blasting out our link to a bunch of different people. We think about, I think spamming would be another great word, right? Where you are trying to get other people to do something that you want, and I want you to do it now, right? Does that kind of resonate a little bit? Because when it comes to the coaching calls I've been doing recently, literally everyone has brought that fact up. And like, Sal, I don't want to toot my own horn. I don't want to have to market it. I don't want to have to, talk about this. I really want you to change your mindset right now to thinking beyond promotion and be thinking from salesy and those kind of tactics. Think more of this word, co-creation, okay? Co-creation. What does co-creation mean? What does co-creation mean? If you have an idea, leave a comment down below. Co-creation is different than when you're just trying to sell something, okay? And I think the biggest difference when it comes to co-creation is that it's a collaboration, right? You're creating something with someone else. Now, without someone becoming a business owner, part of your business, or maybe working with you and getting a stake of ownership in some way, how do you invite them to become part of the process? When you invite people to become a part of the collaboration process, a part of the creative process, a part of the process of something new coming to life, it's so fun because they're a part of the story, right? And they're no longer being sold to, they're witnessing something being unfolded. So a lot of times we talk about this when it comes to, for example, a Facebook group, which you might grow, your email list, when it comes to the social media posts that you're putting out there to the public. Rather than just being spammy and promotionally, you can talk about the process of this product coming to light. You can share those iterations, you can share those designs, you can share what's happening behind the scenes. In fact, you just be able to get the resources to actually do this thing, or you're shipping now, and this is gonna get out to them in a couple of months or a month or weeks when it comes to fulfilling your rewards with Kickstarter or Indiegogo, or with a GoFundMe campaign, the process that it took to get here to this point in time and celebrating those milestones. You are creating something with someone else. And all of a sudden it's no longer a you versus me, right? And I'm trying to get you to do this thing and do this now. And it doesn't feel that kind of energy. It's more of like, we're doing this together. And we're trying to get to these goals together. And if we're able to get to these goals together, we can do so many cool things with this project, with this product, with this personal fundraising campaign, whatever it is. Think more in the lines of co-creation. How can you invite people to collaborate with you throughout this campaign process? And they're not gonna feel sold to, they're gonna feel like they're part of the process, that they're on your team, they're part of the community. Number two, and this is one of the keys to crowdfunding, and I would say honestly that when it comes to crowdfunding, this is one of the most important elements of crowdfunding success, okay? And it's gonna be a little bit subtle. So I really want you to think about this. It's gonna sound a little bit woo-woo, right? But I really want you to begin to ponder about this word. And that's speak to someone's identity. Okay? Speak to someone's identity. What do I mean by that? I mean that if you're buying a new product, we'll just say, and you want to have a luxurious experience, you want something that's so nifty, so cool, that gadget, that gizmo, that really thin wallet, right? Or a watch that just looks great on your wrist if you're doing YouTube videos, right? Or something like that. You want to be able to speak to that person's identity. How do they view themselves in the world, number one? But number two, how do they want to view themselves? Do they want to view themselves as an adventurous outdoor goer who's every so often, every weekend, going hiking in the mountains, right? And being able to take some nifty gear along with them that's going to save them so much space because they are minimalistic, they are efficient, and they are smart with how they do things. Or are you speaking to themselves in a different way? For example, with a crowdfunding campaign that's more geared towards nonprofit or charity or a cause, you're talking about how this person maybe wants to cause a positive impact in the world, or they want to feel good about the impact they're making, or the fact that they're going to be able to have this massive change in someone else's life. Or giving this amount of money is going to enable you to do this, maybe giving some books to kids that are in a third world country in order to learn how to read, right? Think about what identity do they currently hold, number one, and what identity do they want to hold. And the more that you can create this bridge, where, I'm gonna go with a different color here, the more you can create this bridge where you have this person, okay, and they're doing okay in life. I mean, they're doing all right. It's not like they're happy, they're unhappy, they're just kind of living life, right? And all of a sudden, they stumble on your product or your campaign, or we're just gonna say this is like a aha moment, right? And this is like a chest, maybe, that they open up and there's all this light, and they're like, oh, this is so cool, right? They stumble on this, and then they start to imagine themselves with this campaign or participating, becoming a member, having an impact of some kind. They start to view themselves that way, like, this would be so cool. I want to do that. Like, I want to be that kind of person that does that. I want to participate. I want one of these products, you know? Or if you're very particular with like design, for example, like I want this kind of watch, or I want this kind of light bulb, or I want this kind of computer, right? Based on the design, the feel, the fonts, the way that it's speaking to someone. See, the more you speak to someone's identity, what they want to have, and that product is the thing that links those two things, the easier it is to achieve success with any kind of campaign when it comes to crowdfunding. Number three, and this is kind of a little bit more sticky point, okay? So for those of you out there, don't get angry about this fact, but it's gonna be true. And honestly, like, I'm just trying to tell it as is. I'm trying to be honest with you right here. So I'm not trying to sell it to be more than it is. This is literally what it is. You need to get the freaking assets. Now, what do I mean by that, okay? In order to have crowdfunding success, you need to, what I call, get the freaking assets. Okay, what are the assets? What do I mean by that, right? And this kind of distinguishes, in my opinion, the difference between someone who has an idea and someone who is taking action, okay? And that's one of the biggest differentiators with crowdfunding. For those that are listening, that are part of my community, you guys are action takers. And I love that about you. That is so great, because I'm an action taker too, and it feels really cool, right? So get the freaking assets. What do I mean by that? I mean, the things that you need to actually assemble a campaign. You can't just go out there and like ask people for money in order to create a product, in order to start a business, in order to do this, in order to do that, unless you're like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, or you have a ton of street cred and people are just willing to lend you or give you money because of what you've done in the past. More often than not, you gotta get assets. Now by assets, I mean things like high resolution photos, videos, text that you can use to explain the story, your ask. It could be reward tiers with a Kickstarter campaign, the GoFundMe campaign. It could be just thinking out the actual story, how you're gonna show proof of the things that you're claiming in that actual nonprofit fundraiser or that personal crowdfunding campaign, or for Patreon, right? Being able to get the assets that you're gonna use, you're gonna promote there, and so you have a nice looking page, right? Get the freaking assets. Get the raw materials that you need in order to assemble this campaign. And a great way to think about this is like, okay, let's just say you're gonna bake a cake, and I'm honestly not very good at cooking. I'm not very good at baking at all. But one of the things that I do is that anytime I'm gonna make a smoothie, I love to go to the gym, right, once in a while here in Miami, and I'll make a smoothie afterwards. I get all the ingredients out, I lay them out on the table because I'm gonna forget otherwise, right? And then I make the smoothie, and then I put everything away, right? So you have to get the ingredients out there on the table first before you make the smoothie. And if you don't, you might forget certain elements. You might be like, oh, I totally forgot to put in peanut butter because I love peanut butter in my smoothie. Or, oh, I forgot to put in the whey protein. Oh, gosh, darn it, right? Get the ingredients out there on the table. And that's what really good chefs do as well, is making sure the ingredients are easy to access, make sure the equipment is easy to access, that they have the right tools, they have a clean workspace, right? When they are beginning to get to work. And the more prep you do ahead of time, the faster that work is, am I right? So get the frickin' assets. You need this in order to be successful with crowdfunding. Don't come to me and be like, Sal, I have this great idea, I wanna raise money for it, but you don't have assets yet, or you don't have a plan to get assets. I have a lot of people who book coaching calls that don't yet have the assets, but they're at least aware that they do need to get them at a certain point in time, that there is a timeline. In order to have success with crowdfunding, at a certain point in time, you're going to need to get those assets. Number 4, when it comes to the keys to crowdfunding success, and to me, again, this is really across platforms, this is across project types. These are things that I've seen just work across the board in my many years here in this industry. And that's kind of understanding the model of crowdfunding and the tactics that go into a raise. So one of the keys to crowdfunding success is that you could do crowdfunding, but if you aren't aware of why crowdfunding works, then it's going to be very hard for you to be successful. It's kind of in the same way that you're trying to run a marathon, but you haven't really studied anything in the way of a system of how you have like progressive mile by mile per day and how you build up to running a huge marathon, and you haven't studied it at all. It's gonna be very difficult for you to just get out of bed one day morning and run a marathon, right? There's prep, there's hard work, there's understanding of the actual things you have to do leading up to that marathon, right? Or if you're biking, etc. Understanding how to push your limits so you can grow, be stronger, and as well showing up every day to practice. Those are so important in any kind of area of your life. So you want to study the model. The key to crowdfunding success is to understand why the model works, okay? Why does the model work? Why is crowdfunding a thing? Why do people do this? Why do people give money online? Why do people support products that get delivered in months sometimes, right? They don't get them for a couple of weeks, a couple of months in some cases. Why is it that they're willing to support a creator that they've never met in person on a subscription basis with Patreon? Why is it they're willing to invest with someone they've never met before online and put $1,000 into their equity crowdfunding or Reg CF style campaign? The more that you can understand the model of crowdfunding and why this model is designed to work very well, particularly when it comes to online raises, this is gonna make it so much easier for you to have success with crowdfunding. I think that honestly goes beyond the scope of today's video. I do have some great courses out there when it comes to, I have some great books as well, talking about the actual crowdfunding model in many different areas, which I'll link up down below. But you have to understand the model of why this works. And the more that you do understand the mechanics that go behind this, then you don't have to be a master necessarily, but it's gonna be so much easier for you to run a successful campaign. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. Number 5 is to view crowdfunding not as a solo single activity, but really as an event, okay? Really as an event, and I almost would say a media event, okay? Now, why do I say this? I say this because a lot of times we think of a raise, we think of like a one and done kind of thing. But a lot of the times, a crowdfunding campaign that goes well actually can lead to multiple raises. It can also lead to a brand that's being built. And the more that you view this as an investment in a massive event that's gonna put your brand on the map, that's gonna get you media attention, accolades, gonna get you a whole rush of funding, of course, but also with the things that come with that, which are customers of your business, or in the case of a nonprofit, it's gonna have tons of people that are now donors of your nonprofit, which you can then solicit at a future point in time, or you can give communications to them in the future, or you can run more campaigns like this. The more that you're actually building a little bit of a foundation here and viewing this as an event, as a massive media firestorm, that you're using this as an excuse to get your name out there, to get your brand out there, etc. This is gonna work way more in your favor. If you're just viewing it as a one-off kind of a thing where, I'm just literally doing this for the funds that are being raised, I don't really care what people say or anything like that, it's not gonna go as well, because also, it's gonna be very hard for you to actually sit down and speak to someone's identity and to study that and to care about that. It's gonna be very hard for you to do co-creation with your community if you're just using this community in order to raise a bunch of money, right? It's gonna be hard as well for you to really get those genuine assets and just kind of, I think you could honestly understand why crowdfunding works, but it's gonna just be a little bit more difficult, in my opinion, to raise funds versus if you're actually going into this wanting to have a massive event, wanting to have a really big foundation which you're building with this campaign that's gonna lead to years and years of success down the road. That's gonna have people Googling your name, which is one of the things that literally I'd say the majority, almost like maybe 80% of the clients that I've had in the past have said that doing a crowdfunding campaign leads to people searching them out online, randomly stumbling across their products in the future. It's like this momentum building process that continues once you've kind of unleashed, if you will, that river. You're always going to have that river moving into your business of people that are discovering you, that are checking you out in different ways, and it is crazy, right? And eventually you're also going to see like products in the wild, for example, where you see a product and you're there in person and you see someone using it, and like that's so freaking cool, right? If you're doing a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo campaign. So you want to charge this up. You want to soup it up. You really want to almost like overhype it, in my opinion, and create a media firestorm behind this. And the more that you can do that, the more that you're going to have this spread organically, the more that you're going to have the actual crowdfunding campaign work in your favor. And you're putting out like a lot of different little seeds that begin to percolate, and they all invest back into the campaign and as well in your brand once the campaign is over. Number 6 is to have a plan, but not a business plan. Okay. So I'm gonna say not a business plan, okay? What do I mean by have a plan, not a business plan, right? So I'm personally, I'm not really a big fan of business plans, but everyone else is different, so we're gonna say not a business plan, right? Everyone's different, and obviously if you're raising like venture capital or you're raising money from a bank, you gotta have a business plan, man. But I'm not a big fan of business plans just because they're not very fluid. I'm a big fan of plans, putting them together in general when it comes to using different tools that are out there and to really having an idea of what you're doing next and those kinds of things. However, it should be a very fluid plan. And the most important thing is that you are taking action. A lot of the times we'll have coaching students who are like, Sal, I have this incredible plans, look at all these schemes. I'm like, dude, you are so intelligent. Like, you're smarter than me. You're putting together all these different things. However, have you taken any action? And he's like, well, not really yet, right? So sometimes planning can be synonymous with procrastination, right? So while you do want to plan and while it's important to do that, you do want to be taking action on those freaking milestones, and you want to be moving towards those different things that you're trying to smash through in order to have crowdfunding success. So yes, have a plan, very important. However, have that plan be fluid, have it be dynamic, allow for it to change, right? Particularly as things are coming about. Sometimes there are delays in the process. Sometimes you're trying to get the product and it takes a little bit longer or it takes shorter and you change around timelines and all that kind of stuff. Have a fluid plan, if I could say it that way. Be willing to be flexible, adaptable, and also be willing to take some freaking action. You don't want to just have a plan and you procrastinate all the single time, right? You do not want to do that. So I would say, I'm more of a ready, fire, aim kind of guy, right? I love to just get out there and do stuff, but you do need a little bit of a plan. Last thing I want to talk about is really about technology, okay? And to be honest, I do like technology. Obviously, technology is amazing and it's improved our life in so many different ways around the globe. However, technology also kind of has a dark side, and I don't want to get into that in this video, and you are probably aware of a little bit of the dark side of technology. However, you are playing in a pool. Okay, you're playing in a pool, you're playing in a pond, you're playing a game. The more you understand the rules of the game, the easier it is to be successul. Think about it. You go out and you play chess, and you're playing chess with your friend. You don't know how to play chess. You don't understand the rules of the game. It's going to be very difficult for you to win, right? Unless you're playing someone else who also is not super good. And I love to play chess. I'm average at it, but I love to play. And I think it's really a good metaphor as well for life. So when it comes to this, understand the algos, okay? I'm going to say algos, short for algorithms. Understand the algorithms of the different platforms that are out there. Algorithms being GoFundMe, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, Facebook, Instagram, email, literally any platform that you're going out there, even if you're using TikTok, etc. Understand the algorithm. The more you understand the algorithm, the easier it's going to be to engineer success, okay? So one of my courses, I have a course called the Crowdfunding PR System. What did I do there? I engineered success when it comes to how to get media hits, how to get people talking about you, how to get your campaign shared virally by other different reporters and press and influencers, etc., and all the different templates and things you need in order to do that, as well as the principles that go behind getting people to write about you, getting those media mentions, getting that media firestorm. So that is a system. I understand the algorithm behind that. The more that you can understand the algorithm algorithm of the different platforms that you're using, of the different technology that you're using, of the different things that you're even taking a part of. For example, like how is the actual organizational structure of a media company work, and how do you use that to your advantage in order to get people to write stories about you? Understand the algorithm that goes into a process. The more that you can understand those algorithms, the easier it's going to be for you to engineer success in almost a scientific way, because you're working with the algorithm, right? When you're working against the algorithm, it's almost like the actual platform that you're going after is not really working in your favor. It's not designed to help you, right? It's designed to help them. They want to either raise more money with more campaigns on Kickstarter, right? Or with Indiegogo, or when it comes to Facebook, they want to make sure that people stay on their platform and increase duration time. So you have to understand the algorithm, the sandbox that you're playing in, the game, the rules of the game. You gotta understand that. The more that you can do that, the more that you're going to unlock success. And this is literally one of the biggest keys to crowdfunding, is understanding those algorithms. So first of all, if you're interested in learning more and creating this media hype firestorm and sort of integrating all of this into one unique, succinct presentation that's going to get people talking about you, getting the press raving about you online, getting all those different media hits. And I think it's so important as well for social proof, is building credibility, but also getting those links, delivering you some link juice, and getting also some traffic and those kind of things. I have an incredible course out there that will introduce this to you, as well as some of the more advanced topics to get these people writing about you from day one. And this is, to me, one of the hardest things when it comes to crowdfunding, is getting press attention. So this sounds interesting to you, go and check out the crowdfunding PR system to really understand the algorithm when it comes to that. And again, I think this is going to be useful for you if you're trying to get your brand out there, if you're trying to get your name out there, you're trying to do more than just raise money, and you really want to have a media firestorm, you want to have a hype storm, you want to have people talking about you around the world. This is the system that you can follow to get you there. All the templates, all the things that comes with that, and as well, what you really got to do in order to get those media hits. So really powerful system. This is not, you should use this lightly, obviously. This is an investment going into a program like this, but if you're serious about it, I do think it's well worth the investment. And particularly, you're going to be paying a PR agency, if you are going to do it, like thousands and thousands of dollars. Same thing goes if you're just trying to have someone else train you as to how to do it. So you get this literally a fraction of that investment. You're getting the entire system there for you and instant access to that. So go and check out that link down below. I hope you enjoyed today's video when it comes to the keys of crowdfunding success. My name is Salvador Briggman. I have a lot of great other content out there for free on my YouTube channel, on my blog, crowdcrux.com, on my podcast, which I publish a version of that on YouTube, as well as on Spotify, iTunes, etc. So go and check out some of my content there. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Hope you took away some good lessons. If nothing else, you got a little bit of that vigor, you got a little bit of that excitement, you got a little bit more enthusiasm and, I guess, motivation to go out there and to absolutely crush it with your campaign. Go and take some action this week, man. Let me know in the comments down below. I will see you next time.